think our family benefited as a whole because we got to know Nate a lot better. We got to know him in a way that where he could start expressing himself and being who he was, and so we got to know what Nate wanted and what Nate wanted to do and what his interests were. Because of his speech delay, we were often determining what activities we thought he would like or what kind of play he wanted to do, often based on what his older brother had done in the past. With the Hanon method, we focused in on listening and joining in his play. And so being able to pause and give him the space and then join in on his activities and interpreting his communication, it meant that we started to really get to know him in a deeper way. And that was a lot of fun. He often surprised us with the games that he came up with, or the pretend play that he wanted to do. And that was more fun for him, and that was more fun for us. And we feel like we've connected with him through that process. It's wonderful because, you know, he has a lot more fun, so he's happy, but he gets to be himself. And so we've adapted some of the games that we play and with some of the toys that we get out, so that are him. And so he's in some ways come alive through that process.
I definitely spend more time face to face. I'm closer to Franek, and I listen and observe him more, which I was not doing before because, well, I sort of was, but not that much, and not as consciously as I'm doing it now. I know how important it is now, and I can see the results of being closer to him and listening and observing, doing what he wants, and it helps to drive the communication. It helps to make it last longer. He's taking more turns. He's much more engaged, which is amazing.
So when I think about the program, the first thing that comes to my mind, the first strategy is waiting. So I learned to observe my son, wait, and then listen. And I think that was the most important strategy for me because I was always pushing on to the next thing and asking questions and just not waiting. And ever since I started waiting, everything seems to be a little bit, it's been more relaxed. There's less tantrums and the communication is a lot easier.
The first thing that surprised me in some of the early strategies was interpreting everything as communication. So when we stopped looking for words and we stopped looking for sentences, and we just started interpreting everything Nate did, his sounds, his actions, as communication, and responding to those and trying to interact with those, that was a surprising moment, because we stopped trying to get him to say things and only respond when he said things, to responding to all his actions. And then it started to this snowball effect of more and more interactions, because if we could interpret his sounds or his gestures, then we started to be able to build on the things that he was interested in. So that was a surprising moment. I think that we were always trying to do activities that were stimulating or were therapy appropriate, whereas joining in on the games and activities that he wanted to do, it didn't feel like therapy. It just felt like fun. And so to let go of some of our expectations and our pressure to help him and just play with him, that play could be the best thing for him. That was a surprise and took a bit of an adjustment as well.
I loved being in a group with the parents. I thought that was also an important component to the sessions. We all had one thing in common, and we all gave each other tips. We listened to each other, and I think it was great having the other parents there for their support and just understanding. And we really were able to give each other tips what was working for us and what might be able to work for them. So it was very helpful having other families there.
When we got together as a group, we'd often talk, all the parents together, about our kids, but often we'd break up into smaller groups of 2 or 3 parents. We met another family with a child that had very similar issues and challenges as Nate, and so we could bounce ideas off of each other. If they had something that worked, we could learn from their experiences.
The individual video sessions were really great. It's amazing to see yourself doing certain things. With every video that we made, something new we learned about ourselves. And Franek was also making huge progress during this time, and he still is. And it was amazing to see all those things happening and how we do things that, you learn. On one hand, you read about it, you have we're talking about it during the course, the meetings with all the parents, but then doing it yourself, that's another story.
When I think about the video feedback sessions, at first I was very nervous and hesitant doing those, but after I saw the first clip, I learned a lot just watching myself and realizing things that I was or wasn't doing, or how I missed interpreting something that Dominic was trying to tell me, even little subtle signs. So seeing that made me, has really helped me.
It was actually really nice to have this time to reflect on what we're doing with Franek and how we're working with him, and how the strategies that we think we know we apply, do we actually apply them? And I think the videotaping was a huge help for us. It actually allowed us to realize that a lot of things we think we're doing, we're not doing that well, or actually what our instructor Brittany pointed out was we're doing a lot of things very well, but we didn't realize we were doing, and we're just kind of overwhelmed and didn't know. So it was super helpful. We're super glad. We would recommend it to anyone.